morning, members of the media. Good morning to those listening and viewing us live on social media. This morning, this press conference here is primarily get at addressing two major subjects that are putting into life in St. Lucia today. I have here with me my colleague, Senator Polius, who will be addressing allegations of sexual harassment in the police force, and I will be speaking on the other major issue of crime in St. Lucia as it exists today. And so after making our statements, we will give the media an opportunity to ask whatever questions that we wish to. We are going to start off with Senator Polius, who will be making her presentation on allegations of sexual harassment in the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. Senator Polius, over to you.
Good morning, everyone, fellow St. Lucians and members of the media, our viewers. Before I delve into my presentation, I just want to, on behalf of the United Workers' Party and the Dennery North UWP constituency branch, extend condolences to Mrs. Stanislaus and her family on the passing of the loved one, Mr. Ferdinand Stanislaus, affectionately known as Tipwet. Mr. Stanislaus was a loyal UWP stalwart and a founding member of the Mothers and Fathers group in the Dennery Valley. I also want to extend my heartfelt condolences to the family and friends of Nikki, who was fatally shot about a week and a half ago. Our sympathies are with the families and friends of the other three individuals who met their demise through gun violence during the Dennery Carnival celebrations that was over the weekend. And of course, those who also met their demise in the Castries vicinity. We know that it is a very difficult time for all of you. We just want to let you know that we mourn with you. And so now I will go right into a more substantive matter of today's press conference. Outrage, shock, and appall would sum up my feelings about the ongoing events within the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. Central to my frustration is the apparent reluctance of our Prime Minister and the Labour Party administration to decisively deal with the allegations of sexual misconduct, against the acting police commissioner. I cannot begin to imagine the horror, grief, and pain that these female police officers endure. The shame and mental trauma is painful, and it takes years and sometimes decades to overcome. And to make it worse, asking these women to work in the very same environment where they can watch their alleged sexual abuser receive one promotion after another and ascend the ranks of the police force? How much more insensitive, callous, and inhumane can this be? Today, as a woman, a mother, community leader, and parliamentarian, I join the women's arm of the United Workers' Party and all women in this country in calling on this Labour administration to act in good conscience. And I repeat, to act in good conscience, to act on principle instead of political expediency. We call upon the Prime Minister to show the women across all sectors and workplaces in this country that he genuinely cares about their welfare and safety. I stand with our female police officers who have been charged with the responsibility for enforcing the law of the state and for protecting us. These three women are powerful, not because they were not frightened or they had not been threatened, but because they demonstrated remarkable courage to disclose the evil that was done to them despite their fears. So I stand with them. I stand with the other police officers who, out of tremendous fear and threats of victimization, have opted to remain silent. As women, we know how devastating and embarrassing the situation is to you. And that's why you bottle up the hurt, the pain, and the grief. We feel your pain. We know that perhaps you have received countless threats which render you helpless, powerless, and leaving you with no courage to speak out. We know that. But how? How much longer can you deal with this nightmare? How many more aspiring and existing police officers, the female police officers, how many of them have to suffer the same fate if you simply stay quiet and let the alleged molester get away with this heinous act? We want you to know that you are not the only one in this. We are there with you. And the only way to stop this vicious cycle of sexual assault and misconduct is to speak out. This behavior cannot be allowed to continue. As a woman and as a parliamentarian, I stand with the many young girls and teenagers who have been violated sexually or have been taken advantage of by public officers and public officials, who have had to stifle their trauma and conceal their psychological wounds in exchange for some hush money. Fellow St. Lucians, this is a reality, and we cannot pretend that it doesn't happen. We cannot continue to fail our girls and women. I stand with them. The women's arm of the United Workers' Party stands with them. These allegations are too serious for the Prime Minister and the Minister of National Security to trivialize or to shove it under the carpet. And you know, the Prime Minister has the audacity to say that the content of the letter was mere accusations. Mr. Prime Minister, allegations of sexual harassment or assault surrounding the police commissioner, acting police commissioner, are not just allegations. These are serious charges that, if not investigated thoroughly, can threaten the very fabric of our nation. If these allegations are not dealt with appropriately, they squash the confidence of the citizenry in the police force. Mr. Prime Minister, if these are not handled well, these allegations can crush our efforts to reduce and stamp out crime in this country. And might I add, Mr. Prime Minister, that if such allegations are not treated with urgency and the level of seriousness required, they have the power to destroy the dreams and aspirations of our girls and women in this country. of acting police commissioner, we note, requires someone who has integrity, someone who demonstrates a commitment to maintain and preserve law and order in this country. But how is it, Mr. Prime Minister, that we can have an officer to lead the fight against crime when criminal allegations create a dark cloud of doubt over his own morality? How can an officer be entrusted to protect us and at the same time struggle to gain the trust of his own troop, let alone the public? This is a grave embarrassment to our police force and an indictment on you, Prime Minister. And where is the minister who's responsible for home affairs, gender relations, and public service? Isn't she duty-bound to respond to the concerns advanced by the female police officers? Why the silence? Why the silence on such critical issue? Madam Minister, why haven't you come out to publicly condemn such behavior and demonstrate some measure of sensitivity to the fundamental human rights of these female police officers and other women in this country? Why haven't you done that? And so, what message are you sending to the rest of the police force and the citizens of this country? That once they are good friends with the government, they are protected? This is ludicrous and total madness. And we cannot continue to allow this to fester in this country of ours. I want to encourage the Prime Minister to take a page from the book of the President of Guyana, where we've learned that one cabinet minister has been sent on leave to facilitate allegations of alleged rape of a 16-year-old. This is what should happen here. The time has come for you to relieve the acting commissioner of his duties and to allow for an impartial and transparent investigation into these allegations. Act on good principle. And we beg of you not to compromise the rights of our women in the police force and other workplaces in this country for political expediency. Our women are partners in nation building. The female police officers help to maintain law and order in this country. Let's protect them now. Politicizing our police force cannot and should never be tolerated. I thank you.